Hello everybody and welcome to AEP's live coverage of 2024 election night in America. Tonight we will be seeing New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez along with her running mate, Representative Ilhan Omar, taking on Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor-Greene and her running mate, Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert. Now these two are pretty extreme on each side in America. Ocasio-Cortez pushing for some policies for some plans for things such as Medicare for all and public education, while Marjorie Taylor-Greene has openly embraced QAnon conspiracy theories. But right now it is 7 p.m. on the Eastern Coast, and we will be seeing the polls closing in the states of Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vermont, and Virginia. Georgia and Virginia, two key swing states tonight. And in the state of Indiana, 11 electoral votes, we can safely project Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win. She will win the state of Indiana, and it's 11 electoral votes. And in the state of Kentucky, 8 more electoral votes. No surprise here, Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Kentucky, and it's 8 electoral votes. And in the state of Vermont, 3 electoral votes. We can safely project that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win the state of Vermont, and there are 3 electoral votes. And in the state of Georgia, 16 electoral votes are currently too close to call. 37% of the voters reporting, and Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently with a 4.1% lead in her home state. In the state of South Carolina, 9 electoral votes are currently too early to call. Only 43% of the vote is in. Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 3.5%. In the state of Virginia, 13 electoral votes are at stake. Only 27% of the vote is in, and Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently leading by 2.9%. Now this is a very good sign for the Ocasio-Cortez campaign, as this early in Virginia, she should be down by a lot more. A very good sign for Ocasio-Cortez early on in the state of Virginia. And a look at our current electoral map. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is at 3 electoral votes. Marjorie Taylor-Greene at 19 electoral votes, still very early. Georgia, Virginia, and South Carolina are all currently uncalled. And now for the 7:30 p.m. poll closings. We will be seeing the polls closing in the states of North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. In the state of West Virginia, 4 electoral votes projected to go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. No surprise here, this is one of the most conservative states in the nation. In the state of North Carolina, 16 electoral votes, 58% of the vote is in. Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 2%. She is expected to have an early lead. She's looking like she's managing to keep a somewhat large lead with 58% of the vote is in. This lead is still expected to shrink, but she is still currently in the lead with 58% of the vote in. And in the state of Ohio, it is currently too early to call. 39% of the vote is in. 17 electoral votes are at stake, and Ocasio-Cortez is currently leading by 2.4%. And now a new look at the electoral map. Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently at 23 electoral votes. Ocasio-Cortez currently at 3. Ohio, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia are all currently uncalled. Now for the 8 p.m. poll closing. So you'll be seeing the polls closing in the states of Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Washington, D.C. Now Florida and Pennsylvania are two of the most competitive and two of the most crucial swing states in this election, both closing all their polls right now at 8 p.m. In the state of Alabama, 8 electoral votes. We can safely project Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Alabama, and there are 8 electoral votes. And in the state of Kansas, 6 electoral votes. We can safely project that Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Kansas and carry their 6 electoral votes. And in the state of Mississippi, 6 more electoral votes we can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. In the state of Missouri, 10 electoral votes. Marjorie Taylor-Greene will carry the state of Missouri, and there are 10 electoral votes. And in North Dakota, 3 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. And in Oklahoma, one of the most conservative states in the nation, 7 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. And then South Dakota, 3 more electoral votes for Marjorie Taylor-Greene we can safely project Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of South Dakota. And then finally in the state of Tennessee, 11 electoral votes, Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Tennessee, and there are 11 electoral votes. And in the state of Connecticut, 7 electoral votes. We can safely project Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win the state of Connecticut, and there's 7 electoral votes. In the state of Delaware, Joe Biden's home state, 3 electoral votes. We can safely project that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win Delaware's 3 electoral votes. In the state of Illinois, 19 electoral votes. We can safely project will go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She will win Illinois in its 19 electoral votes. And in Maine and Nebraska split their votes among congressional districts and have 2 at-large electoral votes. She will win the at-large vote and the 1st congressional district's vote. And in the state of Maryland, 10 electoral votes. We can safely project will go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And in the state of Massachusetts, 11 electoral votes. We can safely project Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win Massachusetts in their 11 electoral votes. And then in the state of New Jersey, 14 electoral votes. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win New Jersey in their 14 electoral votes. And in Rhode Island, 3 electoral votes. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win Rhode Island in their 3 electoral votes. And finally, in Washington, D.C., 3 more electoral votes. We can safely project Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win Washington, D.C. in their 3 electoral votes. In the state of Florida, 31 electoral votes are currently too close to call. 52% of the vote is in, and Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently with a 1.2% lead. It's looking to be a very competitive night here in the state of Florida. Still 52% of the vote is in, and it is currently too close to call. In the state of Maine, it's 2nd congressional district. 1 electoral vote, currently too early to call. 28% of the vote is in. Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently with a lead of 8.1%. In the state of Michigan, 51% of the vote is in, and it's currently too close to call. Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently leading by 2.3%. And in the state of New Hampshire, too close to call. 43% of the vote is in, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 5.5 percentage points. And then in the state of Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes are at stake. 46% of the vote is in. These are 19 electoral votes crucial to essentially both candidates' paths to victory. Not as crucial to Ocasio-Cortez, as she would have to make up a lot of ground in other states. This may be the most important state in the election, and is currently too close to call, with Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently leading by 3.6%. And in the state of Texas, 41 electoral votes, 54% of the vote is in. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez currently out to an early lead of 3.5%. And now we'll look at the race to 270. This race is neck and neck. Ocasio-Cortez at 76, trailing by 1 vote to Marjorie Taylor-Greene at 77. But now we have, please stand by, because now we have an AEP projection. And in the state of South Carolina, 9 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. These are previously too early to call. I'll look at this map. Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of South Carolina by, I believe, 8.8%. 72% of the vote is in. It is much more competitive than previously. Harris doing very well in counties such as Dillon County, but we can project that Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win, Ocasio-Cortez doing well in counties such as Dillon County. We can safely project that Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of South Carolina in their 9 electoral votes. And now, when you look at the race to 270, Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently leading by 10 electoral votes, 86, to Ocasio-Cortez's 76. And now for the 8:30 p.m. poll closing. You'll be seeing the polls closing in the lone state of Arkansas. And then the state of Arkansas, 6 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. And now a new look at the current electoral map. That should say 92. It says it on the bar. Marjorie Taylor-Greene at 92 electoral votes. Ocasio-Cortez at 76. Ocasio-Cortez currently trailing Marjorie Taylor-Greene by 16 electoral votes. Now for the 9 p.m. poll closings, we'll be seeing the polls closing in the states of Arizona, Colorado, Louisiana, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Wisconsin and Arizona, 2 of the most crucial states in this election. In the state of Louisiana, 8 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Louisiana and their 8 electoral votes. And in the state of Nebraska, Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win their 4 out of their 5 electoral votes. She will win electoral votes in the at-large vote and then in the 1st and 3rd congressional districts. And in the state of Wyoming, one of the most conservative states in the nation, 3 electoral votes will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. In the state of New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's home state, we can safely project that she will win the state of New York in their 27 electoral votes. In the state of Arizona, currently too close to call, Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 4.9%, 61% of the vote is in. This was expected. We'll have to see if Marjorie Taylor-Greene can chip away at that lead, or if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will be able to hold on to it. In the state of Colorado, 10 electoral votes are currently at stake. 43% of the vote is in, and it is currently too early to call. Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 3.8%. This is actually the home state of Marjorie Taylor-Greene's running mate, Lauren Boebert, although Boebert is very unpopular, and this is actually expected to favor Ocasio-Cortez. In the state of Minnesota, 73% of the vote is in, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez currently leads by 4.7%. It is currently too close to call in the state of Minnesota. In the state of Nebraska, its 2nd congressional district, it is too close to call. Joe Biden won this by over 6%. 83% of the vote is in, and Ocasio-Cortez leading, but not by as much as Joe Biden won it by. She is only leading in here by 3.6%. Nebraska's 2nd congressional district is currently too close to call. And then in New Mexico, it's too early to call. It's 5 electoral votes are currently too early to call. Ocasio-Cortez leading by 1.1%, with 31% of the vote in. Her lead is expected to grow. In the state of Wisconsin, one of the most important states tonight, 48% of the vote is in. Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently leading by 3.1%. Wisconsin and its 10 electoral votes are currently too close to call. And now a new look at the race to 270. Ocasio-Cortez currently at 103 electoral votes. Marjorie Taylor-Greene at 107. But please stand by for some AEP projections. And in the state of Virginia, 13 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. These were previously uncalled. We can now project that she will win them. If we take a look at this map, Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 16%. 33% of the vote is still left to be counted, although that is expected to narrowly favor Ocasio-Cortez. She did much better in DC suburbs such as Fairfax County, doing much better among this uber liberal DC suburb area. Also, Marjorie Taylor-Greene was just for the most part unpopular, especially in those DC suburbs. But in Maine's 2nd congressional district, we can safely project that Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win. She will win Maine's 2nd congressional district. And as we take a look at this, this is the congressional district map. Maine's 2nd congressional district is the district highlighted in red. We can go take a look at this county map. Now you know where Maine's 2nd congressional district is. Currently, Marjorie Taylor-Greene leading by 4.3%, 89% of the vote in. The remaining vote is expected to favor Marjorie Taylor-Greene, so we can safely project that she will win the 1 electoral vote from Maine's 2nd congressional district. And now a new look at our current electoral map. Ocasio-Cortez is taking the lead by 8 electoral votes, 116 to 108 electoral votes. Plenty of states do still remain uncalled. And now for the 10 p.m. poll closing. So you'll be seeing polls closing in the states of Iowa, Montana, Nevada, and Utah. And in the state of Montana, 4 electoral votes are projected to go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Montana and it's 4 electoral votes. And in the state of Utah, 6 electoral votes going to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. She will also carry the state of Utah and its 6 electoral votes. In the state of Iowa, 6 more electoral votes. Currently too close to call. 71% of the vote is in. Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently with a lead of 3.6%. In the state of Nevada, 6 electoral votes. Also currently too close to call. 44% of the vote is in. Ocasio-Cortez narrowly leading by 0.9%. Joe Biden won the state by 2.4%. It is currently too close to call in Nevada. And now a new look at our current electoral map. Marjorie Taylor-Greene has taken the lead back, 118 electoral votes to 116 electoral votes. It is a very competitive race right now. Marjorie Taylor-Greene only currently leading by 2 electoral votes. But please stand by for some AEP projections. In the state of Colorado, 10 electoral votes are projected to go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is the winner in the state of Colorado. As you can take a look at this map, she is currently winning by 18.5% or 18.8%, excuse me, 87% of the vote, and that's about 15% more, or excuse me, 5% more than Joe Biden won it by. So a very, very large margin of victory here. This may be because the state is shifting to the left, and she has more minority appeal than Joe Biden, mixed with the fact that Marjorie Taylor-Greene and her running mate, Lauren Boebert from the state, are very unpopular, especially among voters in the state. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win the state of Colorado. And in Nebraska, it's the 2nd Congressional District. She will carry the electoral vote from Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. As we take a look at this map, excuse me, it says 1 out of 5. It says 1 out of 4. It's supposed to say 1 out of 5. As you can see, though, that blue district is Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. So if we go and take a look at the county map in Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 6.7%, similar to Joe Biden's margin of victory. 92% of the vote is in. Ocasio-Cortez will win Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. And in the state of New Hampshire, 4 electoral votes are projected to go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. As we go take a look at the state of New Hampshire, and it's 4 electoral votes, 76% of the vote is in, and Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by about 8.7%, improving on Joe Biden's victory in the state of New Hampshire. In the state of New Mexico, this is expected. 5 electoral votes will go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. As we go take a look at this map, improving on Joe Biden's numbers again, 11.6% margin of victory at the moment. The remaining vote is expected to narrowly favor her, so her lead will probably increase, probably not by a lot though, so this will be a very similar number to what we see in the final number. Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 11.6% in New Mexico. But out of the state of Ohio, 17 electoral votes are projected to go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. It has narrowed up significantly since 2020, only a 2.8% margin of victory for Marjorie Taylor-Greene with 93% of the vote in. Ocasio-Cortez just wasn't able to do well enough in the rural areas and in the suburbs. This remaining vote will favor Marjorie Taylor-Greene, so we can safely project that Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Ohio in 17 electoral votes. And in the state of Texas, 41 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. As we take a look at this, she is currently leading by 3.3%, much narrower from last year or from last election when Trump won it by over 5%. This state is narrowing up, but Marjorie Taylor-Greene still able to win here. Only 3% of the voters left, and she is currently leading by 3.3%. And now when you look at the race to 270, Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently at 166 electoral votes, so Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at 136. Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently leading by 30 electoral votes. And now for the 11 p.m. poll closings, you'll be seeing the polls closing in the states of California, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. And in the state of California, 55 electoral votes, the state with the most electoral weight, will go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Absolutely no surprise out of the state of California. Out of the state of Oregon, 8 electoral votes we can safely project will also go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And in the state of Washington, 12 electoral votes. She will also win Washington, and it's 12 electoral votes. And in the state of Idaho, 4 electoral votes will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. We can safely project that Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Idaho, and it's 4 electoral votes. And now a new look at the race to 270. That victory in California has boosted Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, currently at 211 electoral votes. Marjorie Taylor-Greene's 170, currently leading by 41 electoral votes. Now please stand by for some AAP projections. In the state of Arizona, 12 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This was previously too close to call. As you can see, only 3% of the voters remaining. Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 2.8%. She is looking at a victory of similar margins to this in the state, currently leading by 3.5% in Maricopa County, which is a very strong sign for her campaign. She is looking at a win similar to the margin of victory that she has right now in the state of Arizona. And in the state of Florida, 31 electoral votes we are projecting will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. We can safely project that she will win the state of Florida and has 31 electoral votes. She was not able to win counties such as Duval, Seminole, and Pinellas County, but she was able to do well enough in Miami-Dade, or rather, Ocasio-Cortez was well enough to do, or was bad, or Ocasio-Cortez did not do well enough in Miami-Dade to be able to win the state, and Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently leading by about 1% with 99% of the vote recorded. And now when you look at the rates of 270, Ocasio-Cortez currently leading 223 electoral votes to 201 electoral votes. It is still very close. No candidate has cracked even what Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton got in 2020 and 2016. Still a lot of states on the board, still a lot of states uncalled. And now for the 12 p.m. poll closings, we will be seeing the polls closing in the states of Alaska and Hawaii. Excuse me, it does only say Alaska on your screen. Hawaii is included in this. And in Alaska, 3 electoral votes. We can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. She will win the state of Alaska in the electoral votes. There are talks about being competitive tonight. Not as competitive as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would have hoped for it to be. But in the state of Hawaii, 4 electoral votes will go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We can safely project that she will win the state of Hawaii in their 4 electoral votes. Now, when you look at the current race of 270, Ocasio-Cortez currently at 227 electoral votes, Marjorie Taylor-Greene at 204. Still, a lot of states uncalled. As this race gets closer and closer to the end, it is still very competitive. But please stand by for some more AEP projections. In the state of Iowa, 6 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. She will carry the state of Iowa and its 6 electoral votes. As we take a look at this, she is currently leading by about 6.4%, a little bit worse than Donald Trump, but similar margins. 93% of the voters in, and we can safely project that Marjorie Taylor-Greene will win the state of Iowa. In the state of Michigan, 15 electoral votes. This is a very, very good sign for the Ocasio-Cortez campaign. She will win the state of Michigan in its 15 electoral votes. There are very few paths to victory for Marjorie Taylor-Greene about the state of Michigan. Ocasio-Cortez currently leading by 3.3%, 92% of the voters in, and we can safely project that Ocasio-Cortez will win the state of Michigan. In the state of Minnesota, 9 electoral votes. We can safely project Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win the state of Minnesota in their 9 electoral votes. As we go take a look at the state of Minnesota, she's currently leading by 7.5%, 87% of the voters in. Similar margins to Joe Biden in 2020. Ocasio-Cortez looking like she's going to win the state of Minnesota. We have projected that she will win the state of Minnesota. In the state of Nevada, 6 electoral votes. We can safely project Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win the state of Nevada in their 6 electoral votes. As we go and take a look at this, she is currently leading by 3.6%, actually a larger margin than Joe Biden. She is currently leading by 12% in Clark County and still winning by 4.5% in Washoe County, a very, very good sign for her campaign. And now when you look at this current map this current race to 270 map, Ocasio-Cortez at 257 electoral votes, Marjorie Taylor-Greene at 204, only Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia remain. Marjorie Taylor-Greene needs at least 3 of these 4. If she loses any of them, that she needs to win Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. If she loses Wisconsin, she'll be okay. But if she loses Wisconsin, or she wins Wisconsin, she is looking better. But if she loses any of these other states, she will lose the election. And now, please stand by for an AEP projection. In the state of Wisconsin, 10 electoral votes are projected to go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We can safely project that she will win the state of Wisconsin in its 10 electoral votes. 98% of the voters in, and she is currently leading by 0.9%, improving on Joe Biden's margin. A very, very narrow victory. Most of the remaining vote will not necessarily favor any candidate. It'll be slightly favoring Ocasio-Cortez, but for the most part be pretty neutral. So Ocasio-Cortez, we can safely project, will win the state of Wisconsin. And now look at the current electoral map. She's only 3 electoral votes away. Marjorie Taylor-Greene currently 50 electoral votes away. And now please stand by for a major AEP projection. And we can safely project that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been elected the 47th President of the United States of America. She will not only become the first ever female president, that was a given, but she will also become the first ever, there will be the first ever ticket where two women were elected to the presidency and the vice presidency. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez breaking that glass ceiling, becoming the first ever woman president. And we can make that projection through the state of Pennsylvania. 19 electoral votes, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won. Third year in a row that Pennsylvania was a tipping state, 100% of the voters in. She's currently leading by 1.1%, a little bit worse than Joe Biden's margin, about 0.1% worse, but she still won the state of Pennsylvania, giving her the presidency. And now, Ocasio-Cortez at 286, Marjorie Taylor-Greene at 220, but please stand by for 2 AEP projections. And then the state of Georgia, 16 electoral votes we can safely project will go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We can safely project that she will win the state of Georgia in its 16 electoral votes. As we take a look at this map, she is currently doing very well. Was not quite able to win Burke County, but was able to win that county by over 20%. Currently leading by 1.5%. Better than Raphael Warnock, or excuse me, better than John Ossoff's margin, but worse than Raphael Warnock. Currently, actually has officially won by 1.5%. A fairly strong victory for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in Marjorie Taylor-Greene's home state. And now we can also safely project in the state of North Carolina, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will win their 16 electoral votes. She is a projected winner in the state of North Carolina. This is a flip from 2020. As you can take a look at this, she is very nearly winning by 0.6%. She won very narrowly by 2.2% in Scotland County. And she did very well in Charlotte and Raleigh, ultimately giving her the win in the state of North Carolina. And this is a new look in our final look at the electoral map. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at 319 electoral votes, Marjorie Taylor-Greene at 220. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it or if you enjoyed it, don't forget